Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Illinois Arts Council Agency, and by the supportive viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Henderson County.
Yes.
Just northwest of Macomb with Jim Blenders, who has the most impressive gardens. I found out about this from one of our viewers who came here with a group trip.
Right.
They came to tour the gardens, and
About
she said,
a month ago.
"Yeah, you got to meet Jim Blenders. He owns a florist shop, and he has this gardens. They are the most impressive gardens, and I have to agree with her." From what little I've seen, but we're going to see the whole thing with our viewers today, okay? Let's go on down here, Jim, because I want to start with one of the highlights, or what I think is a highlight. I love water features, and you don't see many like this. This is a real beautiful mountain stream, like.
Yeah. So.
Come out this way and let's walk up there a little bit.
Okay.
How did you put, I'm looking at all this river rock that you had to haul in here. How did you do this?
Well, I had truckloads of it brought, and then we have a little John Deere tractor that with a bucket, and we load it up and bring it down and do it, and just lay them, in there, and then I keep Roundup on them to keep the weeds down.
I'm hoping that our microphones can pick up the sound, because we've recently had some rains and your creek is running nice and full and you can really hear it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And then there's my Japanese covered bridge. A friend of mine made that for me. Mm-hmm. So.
You have a lot of Japanese features here too. You really like Japanese garden, don't you? Okay, and we got a chance to see those. Yeah. And we might also point out some of the things. Well, there's a feature right here. We're gonna let's go up. Jim, let's go up here.
Okay.
Why don't you lead the way?
Okay. This has kind of overgrown with my trees, but I've got, here's a beautiful evergreen tree, arborvitae type. Mm-hmm. These are all rhododendrons in through here.
Oh, I'll bet in May. It's stunning, isn't it?
Yeah. Those are Henry red. They're a solid red. They're beautiful.
Uh-huh.
And
those are back there are also rhododendrons, are they not?
Yeah. They're lipitodes, they're called.
Mm-hmm.
These are elipitodes. Those are lipitodes. And those are all white back in there when they bloom. And this is a Japanese maple.
You can share some pictures with us, because you do take pictures every spring, don't you?
Yeah, too many.
Too many, yeah, probably.
Okay. If you want to get the sound.
Yeah, there's the
we can get up
the culvert where it comes out. So what's the source of your creek? Is it
just tile, and I have a pond over here, on the other side. Mm-hmm. And it will dry up in August if we have a real dry August.
Yeah, we just saw a big frog jump in there.
Yeah.
And I can see you've got fish in there too, so you do have a population of fish.
Yeah.
Huh. I bet the kids love that, don't they?
Yeah.
What's this giant?
That's a good.
Is that an arborvitae?
Yeah, it's arborvitae, but it's golden. And
golden.
I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah.
And this has the Japanese effect too.
Yeah. This is a. I'll think of it.
Did you forget?
Okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
I can't remember all of them.
I'm going to ask you about 1,000 questions, so you may not know the answer to all of them.
I think this is a neat.
That that looks like a
evergreen.
cedar.
Uh-huh. I got that in Rushville one time.
You do a lot of shopping in Illinois, don't you? For your you got some quartz back here.
Yep. White
Nice.
rocks. Yeah.
And you love your begonias, don't you? I don't blame you.
Yes. And hostas. When I started this, I had every one of my hostas named, and I had a stick in them.
Uh-huh.
But through the years, as I've had people help me weed and stuff, the names get pitched. So yeah. I like Japanese lanterns too. So,
yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. And that is a Cornus dogwood there.
And you're talking about the one that with the white?
White,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Now, those bloom really late, don't
Oh,
they? They
yeah.
bloom well
They're
into
really,
the season.
really, really late.
And they don't have that brilliant white that the flowering dogwood has, but
No.
they do keep their blooms on, don't they?
That's been blooming for probably 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And the bloom is smaller. It's not as big as a regular dogwood.
And again, these rhododendrons are just everywhere. This is just be banks of colors.
Right. So, and there's a Japanese maple.
Mm-hmm.
And
more rock.
Yeah.
Rock and wood chips. You're big on rock and wood chips, aren't you?
it helps keep the weeds down.
Can we go back up in here? Is this one of your Japanese gardens, or where do you want
This
to go?
is Japanese.
Okay, let's
This
go
way
up there.
yeah.
Let's go up there.
Okay. So I have a table, and so I get my coffee cup, and I'll come out here and sit and just look around
There's a lot to look at.
and stuff. And I'm kind of like ferns too. Look at all the different ferns I have here.
They do really well in this environment,
Yeah.
don't they? Because they can keep them out of the sun, and it stays kind of moist in here.
Right.
Yeah, and there's back over here more of the hostas that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's Great Expectations.
That's what that's called. Is
Yeah.
you mean the lower one? The
No,
lower,
the yellow one.
The high one.
Yeah, the bigger one.
Great Expectations.
And the lower one is Patriot. I do know that. Yeah, those are the two.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well, Jim, this was a family farm. It's been in your family for a long time.
1939.
It still is. I see the beans growing
Mm-hmm.
up there on the hill. Where we're standing used to be at the pasture.
Right.
And when you got a little older, you determined more than 20 years ago you were going to make a garden out of this. And this was where you started with your hosta beds, right?
Right.
In the pasture.
In the pasture.
Okay, so you weren't afraid of the cows and everything stamping on them.
No.
Okay.
Well, we didn't have cows then.
Didn't have any
No.
cows.
And
Let's see.
I planted all these pine. They weren't here. I planted all these trees too.
They're big.
Oh yeah.
They're big now.
Yeah. So
Wow.
most of the trees and stuff has been planted. The only trees that we had on this was mulberry and wild cherry, and so I got rid of all of them.
Yeah. And everything else that we see here is something you planted.
Planted.
Wow. Well, that's just about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jim, let's go back to part of the Japanese garden again.
Okay.
We didn't really get to see a lot, but there's so many little. After you, sir. There's so many little cul-de-sacs in here that you kind of have to watch where you're going.
Right. The plants have gotten bigger than what I thought they were going to. I
Well,
think.
isn't that always the way of it?
Yeah.
You don't really know how to space things, do you?
No.
Because and you don't know. You think you're gonna, you're living forever. So you're thinking, well, for 20 years. You know.
That's Sum and Substance hosta, those big ones. I planted 3 on each side, but see, the 3 on the other side haven't done near what these 3
Is
have.
it because of the sun, you think?
I think so.
So they like the sun. Everybody thinks
Evidently.
hostas are a shade lover, but these guys like that light, don't they?
They must, because they get so much bigger.
Now you've got these features like this this gazebo or whatever this is called. How did you come up with that idea?
Out of a Japanese garden book, I saw those, and then I had the Amish build it for me.
And then you've got lanterns and statues.
Yeah.
And how do you find these things?
I go up to the gardens in Freeport, not Freeport, in, oh boy, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. I will. And just different gardens around wherever I go. So.
Buddhas and temples.
Buddha. I think that's a pretty scene down through there.
It's gorgeous.
With the look at that Japanese maple there, that fern lace.
Is it this brownish one here? Is that the fern lace? Okay.
Yeah, that's a Japanese, and those 2 are Japanese red ones back there.
And now, will those change color in the fall, or will they stay?
These will get bright red. That one is more of a golden yellow.
Oh, the green one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and there's another hydrangea back there.
Oh, it's flowering now.
Yeah.
Those are and that's not the oak leaf. What is
No.
That's but it is flowering now.
Yeah. With that one, you remember Hare's greenhouse in Galesburg?
I've never been up there.
Oh, well, they're not there any longer. But
Well,
they
those are
had
beautiful.
this at the entrance to their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was up there when it was blooming like this. And I said, I'd like to have that. So that's where I got that
Yeah.
plant.
And it's fine where it is too. It doesn't get much sun, but it's fine where it is.
Yeah.
And you can see these trees are big, and all these trees were trees you planted. Look how big they've gotten.
I know.
Remarkable. And there's that dogwood again, that late flowering dogwood that we were talking about. And then you've got like you say, you love ground cover, so you've got even some of these evergreens are very low growing.
Mm-hmm. Right. So.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, gardening changes as the years go by. I mean, you plant something and then after 10 or 15 years you decided you don't want that anymore, so you have to get rid of it.
I just noticed. Do you light this up at night? Because I see an electric light.
I used to, but I haven't.
No.
Lately.
Will it light up
Yeah.
for you if you want to?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be dramatic.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Maybe we'll have to come back.
There, see that Japanese round thing there?
Yeah.
The Amish built that for me too.
And what is that? Just an
That's
entryway? It's a doorway.
Yeah, it's kind of they just showed it in this Japanese garden book, and I thought, oh well, I'll get that made.
Yeah. And actually, let's keep going out here because there's a wind chime.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom here is an opening, and you can actually have events down here, can't you?
Yes, we've had several weddings here, and we put an arch up and stuff in here.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful. Yeah,
And
it's beautiful.
they put chairs and stuff there. Yeah. So let's move this way.
Okay, Jim, a wise man told you that every garden had to have one of these arborvitaes, right?
Yes.
Show
yes,
it
sir.
to us, will you?
Okay. These are DeGroot, D-E-G-R-O-O-T, arborvitaes, and a nursery. I got these up in Chicago from a nursery, and he told me every garden needed one.
Well, they are striking, and they don't take up a lot of room either. It's kind of nice. They go straight up.
Columnar.
Yeah, and you don't have to trim them to death, do you?
Never touch them.
Oh, that's great.
No. So
Now, this is a very interesting looking, I don't think I've ever seen one of these before.
that,
Some
they
kind of-
told me when I bought that, is the evergreen that's around the Kremlin in Russia. But I cannot guarantee
So
you
it
that,
goes
but-
okay with bitter cold temperatures.
Yeah,
It does fine here in the
Oh,
winter
yeah.
time, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Does it stay green? It stays green all
Oh
year,
yeah,
I take it.
it's
huh?
it's an evergreen type plant.
And then up above it, we see, I think those are those trumpet flowers or trumpet
Yes,
plants?
Trumpet vine. It's a
Trumpet vine, okay.
Yeah,
And you planted that intentionally. It looks like it's
Yeah.
taken over.
right.
You
And
wanted to?
it's-
You
yeah.
wanted to?
See that I got a thing that's coming up on it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Is that what
there's
it's growing up?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where it's grown up.
Okay. And so
But it's kind of got grown right into my arborvitae.
you don't seem to mind, though.
No. Yeah, I think it's okay. It looks okay.
These
It's
ornamental
natural.
grasses are very pretty in there.
That's morning light, or
Oh, that's beautiful.
ornamental grass.
That's beautiful. Then no more. I don't know if these
No,
are arborvitaes
this isn't.
or not, but
This isn't DeGrout.
no, but it is an arborvitae,
Yeah,
right?
it's an arborvitae.
Okay. This also, I love this because we've got the creek now. We've got the creek on our left. Well, you hauled a lot of rock in. My goodness. And then we've got. This looks like a Japanese something.
This is a tiger eyes. It's
Tiger
called
eyes.
tiger eyes. It'll get orange in the fall, and it spreads though.
And
But you
it's
have to kind of watch it.
it's daylily season, isn't it?
Here's a cameo cypra.
A cameo what?
Cypra, they're
Cypra.
called. They're an evergreen. I really like them too, and it's
You planted
Really?
that one not too long ago, huh?
well, probably 10 years ago. They don't grow
They
very
grow very
fast.
slowly.
They're very
yeah.
slowly.
Yeah. And then your lilies up above that are just
Yeah.
beautiful. And you have a lot of daylilies?
Yep. That was what I started this garden years ago when we first started. I started 3 rows of daylilies through here. And then here's some more beautiful daylilies.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that deep red color.
So. And that's an azalea bed across the creek there. And In the
Springtime,
spring,
that's-
it's got a lot of color to
Yep,
it.
and I love the way these hostas are on the bank,
Yeah.
growing on the bank.
I'm worried they might slide off.
Well,
I don't know what I'm going to do.
They got pretty deep roots.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. This is one of my favorite here, Alaskan fir. I just think it's, and in the winter, it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, when it has snow on it? Oh, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And look off over there into that beautiful hillside there, that little knoll. Isn't that sweet?
So,
Well, Jim, you have 2 memorial gardens in your big garden here. One
Right.
is named for your wife, Sammy.
uh-huh.
She helped you start this garden, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Tell me how you
We
all
s-
got going.
Well, this was, like I said, a pasture, and we pulled many mulberry and wild cherry trees for years, and then we, like I said, we just started planting, and she helped me for, the first, I'd say 20 years, but then her health got where she couldn't, work out, and she loved to mow though, so she still mowed as long as she could.
But bending and pulling and cutting was not for
no,
her, huh?
No.
Now, this is an interesting plant, and there's a reason that's here, isn't there?
Yes, this is Osami. It's a Japanese maple, and I
Osami.
got it in down by Springfield at Davison's.
And they sort of specialize in Japanese plants and,
Yeah.
and
Right.
Okay,
If
so
if you want a Japanese maple, that's the place to go.
Oh, okay.
They got greenhouse after greenhouse
yeah,
of them.
yeah. We've done a story with them.
Yeah.
And what about the statue? What?
That statue, Sammy's friend, she taught in Burlington for 25 years. And her friend, Rama, and her husband, and we were couples. We played pitch and everything for years together. And one year, they rode with us up to Hornbaker's at Princeton. And she saw that and she wanted it, so she bought it. Rama did. And she put it in her garden. She was a gardener too. She loved to garden. Anyway, she passed away a year after my wife did, in 20. And so I had had my eye on that for years, and I asked her family if they'd sell it to me. So they did. So I think it's really appropriate that
It belongs there.
Rama is here with Sammy.
It belongs
So,
there. That's
it
nice.
belongs
That's a
there.
nice
Yeah.
touch.
Yeah.
You also have another garden here that's in memoriam to your great-grandchild, who your wife, of course, was very close to.
Yeah.
What was her name, the child?
Aubrey. Aubrey.
Oh.
You can hardly see her
Yeah,
stone
but
in there.
you do. If you look right in the middle, you
yeah.
can see the stone with Aubrey's
Yeah.
name on it. And how did she die, Jim?
She choked one Sunday morning.
Oh.
She come running out to the kitchen to my granddaughter, and she was choking, and she couldn't. Of course, Brandy did everything she could, and she couldn't get an ambulance, and she finally had she was doing police work then, and she called this policeman who come over and took her to the ambulance, but her brain was dead, and they pronounced, and they donated her organs, so
Yeah.
we got.
And
They were still in contact with the one that got her kidneys. Yeah.
And you kind of feel like maybe Sammy, she may have died as a result of mourning for her
Right.
great-granddaughter.
Well, we think it because while we were all in the hospital there for the week, Sammy kept saying that, I'll be following you soon. Well, 10 days later, she had this massive stroke, and that was it. So.
Well,
Yeah.
Aubrey and Sammy are in a beautiful place.
Yeah, yeah. They're better off, they say. So, yeah, isn't this gorgeous?
What is that?
That's a hydrangea.
You know what? This is really pretty too.
That
I don't think I've ever seen one. Is this a Japanese?
No,
No?
that's a tricolor beech.
A beech.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're terrible expensive.
Oh, they are expensive, huh?
Yeah, I'll show you one over here that's bigger. But anyway, that is one of those Cornus dogwoods,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Brandy's friends gave that to her for Aubrey, and she had me plant it out here.
It's not blooming yet.
No,
it'll
it won't
bloom
bloom
next
for
year,
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
It takes forever.
Yeah. Well, Jim, I guess every season has its high points, right? I mean,
Yes.
right now you've got the lilies blooming, your roses just quit blooming, and of course in the spring you had your azaleas and your rhododendrons. And as we look down the creek now, the meandering creek, we see a big pink tree, and that looks very unusual to me. What is that?
That's a tricolored beech, it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And
is that the color all year?
Yep, it's beautiful. It's really outstanding when the sun hits it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
We're here on kind of a gray day, which is
Fine.
kind of fortunate. I mean, the sun is nice, but it also gives you a lot of shadows that can make it kind of tricky.
Right.
But boy, this is just a beautiful sight. The next thing I want to see is I want to see these enormous banks of rhododendrons. I know they're not in bloom now, but you can share some pictures with us that show what it's like in the springtime.
Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jim, we've been here. This is the area where you can host weddings. You know, this is a nice little open area surrounded by, for the most part, rhododendrons.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. And in the spring, what's it look like in the spring?
Beautiful pinks, purples, reds, and lavenders is the main color of the rhododendron.
How long would the season how long would it be in full color?
Almost 3 to 4 weeks, because each rhododendron blooms at a different time.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Like the PJMs bloom earlier in the year, and then like Henry's red is a later bloomer, and the purple ones up on over the hill here are really late, so they bloom late.
Yeah.
So 3 to 4 weeks is good.
Yeah,
if the weather's cool, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
If it's hot, they don't last.
How long does it take for them to get this big?
20.
Really, 20 years?
20
so these
or
are some of the early things that you planted were the rhododendrons.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, in the spring, it must be a showcase in the spring.
It is. I'll show you some pictures of it. I didn't mention my witch hazel.
Oh, all right.
They bloom in February.
No kidding.
No kidding.
You know, and they smell really sweet, don't they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm always anxious to see them bloom, because that means spring's coming.
Right.
You know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, let's walk out the way we walked in.
Okay.
I love this lined with begonias here. But I wanted to show this garden because this is not part of your formal gardens in there, but it's the first thing you see when you get out of your car here. And it's really special, especially I think right now, because these coneflowers over here are pretty much at their peak, aren't they?
Yes. They're just doing real good.
And you got some really handsome butterflies.
That is a monarch.
That's a monarch, and it's right on that red or that pink. I think we can see it in the camera. Yeah, he's got his wings wide open, and they might be hanging out early. Now you did plant milkweed though, so they they've got caterpillars here. So that's very, very pretty.
Yeah.
I see the ornamental grasses and everything. What else do we have here besides the coneflowers?
I've got some roses.
Oh, and they're done.
Yeah,
the roses are done.
Well, they're in between blooms.
Yeah.
They'll be coming back.
And what about these purplish?
This is balsam. It comes up every year. It seeds and comes up volunteer every year. And then I've got some daylilies in here. And I've got Asiatic lilies.
Does the balsam do anything for you except just look pretty? I mean, does it control anything, or does
well, my weeds.
Well, okay, the weeds have nowhere to grow because it's full of balsam.
Yeah. The balsam would probably be prettier if I pulled half of them. You know what I mean? But then I'd get weeds, and then you'd have to pull them. So
yeah. And what about up the hill there, the bluish, the purplish?
Okay, that's blue salvia. That plant is an annual, and I plant it every year up in here. And that one lived through the winter and why it's so big, it lived through the winter and came back this spring.
And what about the pink in the middle there with the
the pink is
it's got
poppy.
Oh, it's poppies.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like a carnation. The bloom is just like a pink carnation, but it's a poppy. It's a poppy, and they come up every year by itself. And
well, Jim, it's remarkable. So. It's just remarkable. Like I said, I don't know how one man does it, but you have a little bit of help, thank goodness.
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
and you do like to share it. And
Yeah.
I'd like to tell the audience in closing, I want to thank you for allowing
You're
us
welcome.
to, because you had a lot of work to do for us before we could come. You had a lot of weeds to pull before we came. But I found out about Jim Blender's Gardens from one of our viewers who came here with a group from her church. And she sent me some pictures, and I said, well, we got to do this. Well, this is also available to your group if you'd like to call Jim and you know, make an appointment to bring your group here. He likes to lead people through and share the beauty of this beautiful Blender's Gardens just northwest of Macomb. With another Illinois story near Raritan, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Illinois Arts Council Agency, and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.